Hello friends, this is Anant Pai from Academy in Pursuit of Engineering Excellence. Today we are going to continue our course on fluid mechanics. In that chapter 1 properties of fluids, today we will see vapor pressure and cavitation. Okay. So now first before we see that, we will see how do we convert liquid into vapor. There are two ways to convert liquid into vapor. First way is by increasing the temperature. Second way is by decreasing the pressure. Okay. So when we increase the temperature, what do? We heat it at a constant rate. So think that the system is a liquid, a subcooled liquid, where we are heating by putting the heating at a constant rate. Might be through a flame or might be through an electric heater. But we are seeing that the heating is at the constant rate. That means the rate of enthalpy induction or enthalpy being put into the system is the same, or energy which is put into the system is the same. Okay. Enthalpy might not be taken as a form of energy very strictly. So we have to understand that energy is a proper word than enthalpy. Okay. So we are going with a constant rate of energy transfer. Now when energy is transferred at the constant rate, what is happening? The enthalpy of the system increases. In addition, the temperature also increases. So this particular part is called sensible heating. Now after it reaches the boiling point, the temperature does not increase. Now what is happening? The energy which is given is used to convert the state of the matter from liquid to vapor. So what happens? This temperature doesn't increase until the entire liquid has converted into vapor. Once the entire liquid has converted to vapor, then the temperature starts increasing, and that is called superheating. So this is how by increasing the temperature we can convert liquid into vapor. The other way is by decreasing the pressure. Now what happens when you decrease the pressure? Now when you decrease the pressure, specific volume increases by a small amount. So this is a vertical line almost. Okay. So why does a specific volume doesn't increase much larger? Because it is a liquid, and liquid are generally incompressible. So the increase in the specific volume is not very significant. But after it reaches this saturation, okay, although there is attempt to decrease the pressure actually doesn't decrease. Why this happens? Because liquid is getting converted to vapor, and since vapor has more specific volume, it tries to compensate for the decrease in the pressure. And that is why in this range from here to here, what is going to happen? The pressure is going to remain constant, and the pressure is going to remain constant until there is liquid present. Okay. Once all the liquid is converted to vapor, then the pressure starts decreasing. This is the way pressure, by decreasing the pressure, we can change a liquid to vapor. Okay. Now why did we discuss this? We will see shortly. The main purpose was to explain how vapor pressure is there. What is vapor pressure? That is the main reason why we did this. Okay. So let us see what is vapor pressure. Now what is vapor pressure? Now vapor pressure, when we see, let us do an experiment. Let us take a liquid in a closed container. Okay. And then this container we will attach to a vacuum pump. Now what happens here? Here generally there will be air, and when we connect this vacuum pump, this air is being sucked. Okay. So when the air is being sucked, what happens? The pressure here reduces. It may so happen, if the vacuum pump is strong enough, then what may happen is, because of the air being sucked out, the pressure above this liquid surface will reduce, and it might reduce to an extent that it falls below the saturation pressure. So when it falls below the saturation pressure, what happens? This liquid starts vaporizing, and when it starts vaporizing, what will happen is it will mix with air. Okay. But we will say that all those initial vapors are also taken out. Okay. Until no air molecules are present in this particular empty space, and here this empty space is occupied only with the molecules of the liquid. When we are ensured that here there are only vapor molecules present, no air molecules, then we will shut the valve here. Okay. We will close the access to the vacuum pump. Now what happens is, this vapor and this liquid are the only thing which are present here. It may so happen that the pressure here, the pressure inside here might be lesser than the saturation pressure. If the pressure here is less than the saturation pressure, then what happens? The vaporization still increases. Okay, the rate of vaporization increases, and as it increases, it may so happen that this space over here might get saturated with the vapors of this liquid, and it may so happen the pressure will increase, and it may increase to above the vapor pressure. Okay, so when it increases above the vapor pressure, the vapor here starts condensing. Okay, now when it starts condensing, the vapor pressure might reduce to a bit lesser than the vapor pressure of the liquid. So this cycle continues, and there after some time it will come into equilibrium where the rate of rate of vaporization is equal to the rate of condensation. Okay, so because of this at this state, the pressure that the vapor has or vapor exerts on the surface of the liquid is called the vapor pressure. Now this vapor pressure is actually equal to the saturation pressure. Okay, so what is vapor pressure? When the space above the liquid is filled with vapor of the liquid alone and the rate of vaporization is equal to the rate of condensation, then the pressure exerted by the vapor on the liquid surface is called the vapor pressure. Okay, now let us understand another point. Okay, now here one of the things what may happen is, if there was air alone in case, okay, or say for example we had spilled a drop of water somewhere, okay, and above that above the surface of the liquid of the drop, okay, liquid surface of the drop, there is only air, and it is not a vacuum, it is atmospheric pressure. Then why does some a droplet of water vaporize? Okay, the reason for this is, actually what is happening is, the air which is there above the liquid is in a gaseous state, and gaseous state is one where it is going in a random motion. Okay, so this air molecules actually hits the surface of the liquid, and when this air molecule hits the surface of the liquid, there is momentum transfer. It may so happen that because of the momentum transfer, these molecules which are there above the liquid will vibrate, and when these molecules of the liquid vibrates, it may so happen the vibration frequency might go so high, or vibration energy may go so high, that the surface molecules of the liquid might escape and it vaporizes, and this is the reason it vaporizes. Okay, and this is called evaporation. And now this vapor pressure has some relation to evaporation of the liquid. Okay, we will see how the relation is. Okay, see, actually when the vapor pressure of the liquid is high, the rate of evaporation is more. Let us see how. Okay, see, for water the vapor pressure or saturation pressure is just 2.3 kilopascal, and if we consider something like acetone, acetone is nail polish remover, you can see as soon as you put on the put it out, it will get vaporized. Okay, it is 30 kilopascal, so it is almost more than 12 times, okay, 12 or 13 times that of water. Okay, now what is the atmospheric pressure? Atmospheric pressure is around 101 kilopascal. So as high the vapor pressure is, more the rate of evaporation. The volatility, or how volatile a liquid is based on how high the vapor pressure is. Higher the vapor pressure, high the volatility. So if you see here, mercury, if you see, it is around 0.0002 kilopascal or 0.2 pascal. So volatility of mercury is very, very low. That is the reason mercury is used as a manometric liquid. When we have to measure small pressures, if it gets vaporized, it is a problem. So what happens? Mercury is used as a manometric liquid because the vapor pressure is very low. It will not get vaporized. That's why mercury is also used in barometer where you have to compare the atmospheric pressure with absolute vacuum, and there mercury is one of the suitable candidates. Okay. Now let us understand much more. See, if I have put here carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide vapor pressure is 5700 kilopascal, which is much greater than 101 kilopascal, which is atmospheric pressure. So what happens? Because of that, carbon dioxide is at a state of gas at the atmospheric pressure. So you can't find carbon dioxide in a liquid state at atmospheric pressure at 20 degrees centigrade. Okay. Now let us see some more. We will see iron, for example. Iron, if you see what is the temperature I am taking? Temperature is around 1535, where iron exists in a liquid state. When iron exists in a liquid state, what is the vapor pressure? Vapor pressure is very low. Okay. So you can't inhale iron vapor. Okay. When you are near some place where you are trying to what do you say, where iron is melted and some casting is done, there is very less chance that iron is vaporized. Okay. Next we will see methane. Methane also, you see, the vapor pressure is much higher. Okay. It is since the vapor pressure is much higher, methane at atmospheric pressure exists at atmospheric pressure and temperature exists in a state of gas, not in case of liquid. One of the effects of vapor pressure in industrial situation is cavitation. Now what is cavitation? Cavitation is forming of liquid cavities in some places of a liquid domain where the pressure might have momentarily reduced to below the saturation pressure, and during that time what happens? A cavity is formed, and this cavity creates increase in pressure, local increase in pressure. Now this local increase in pressure might increase the wear, okay, of that of the industrial components, like if you say for example pipes, pumps or turbines. Okay. In pipes, when you say, there might be a place where there is converging pipe. You know, when the pipe converges, there is reduction in the pressure. Okay. So during the converging pipe, what happens if locally the pressure reduces lesser than vapor pressure, what happens? There is a vapor bubble which is formed, or vapor cavity which is formed, and then this cavity moves to the region of high pressure, and this vapor bubble or vapor cavity collapses. This collapsing as well as formation causes pressure waves, and this pressure waves might will increase the wear of the pipe. Okay. So where there is high reduction in cross section, what will happen is there is a possibility of high wear, and there might be possibility that it may develop leaks in such kind of places, and this is very crucial in piping when it is dealing with the pipelines of petroleum or some gases where some liquids where it is a flammable one. Okay. Flammable liquids, it is very important that we take care of this cavitation. Okay. Next case is in case of pumps, where say the suction pipe is much higher than say 30 meters. Okay. You know, the atmospheric pressure is around 33 meters. Okay. So if it is less than more than 30 meters, there is a high possibility that at the place where it's entering the pump, the pressure might be much lesser than that of vapor pressure of the liquid. And when this happens, what generally happens is the vaporization of the water happens, and when the water vaporizes, it forms cavities, vapor cavities, and when this goes through the pump where there is increase in the pressure, this vapor cavities might collapse, and it may create problems in the vanes of the pump. Okay. And there is a possibility sometimes that because of sustained cavitation and sustained wear, this vanes of the pump may collapse fully, and it may go away from the pump, and it may spoil the pump wholly. Same thing happens with the turbines also. In turbines also, turbines, what happens? It's actually expansion device. When when the liquid is expanded in the turbine, it may so happen that the pressure might reduce much lower than the vapor pressure, and this may cause the same cavitation, and it may sustained wear can make the turbine blades to come out, and it may create catastrophic failures. Okay, this is so. Now what happens? Cavitation leads to increased wear and pitting. What is pitting? Pitting is, see, because of these vapor bubble being collapsed, there are local pits which are formed on the surface of, say, pipes or say pump vanes or turbine blades. It may happen. That is called pitting. So you can see visually, you can see the pits formed on that. So when there is pitting, we have to understand that we have to change the working conditions so that there is no cavitation which is formed. And sustained pitting can go with catastrophic failures, just as I have told that if the turbine say turbine gets spoiled, okay, or turbine blades might come out, okay, so it may have problems anywhere. Okay, so let us see next. Okay, so now one of the ways to see whether this cavitation happens or doesn't happen, okay, is the cavitation number. This cavitation number is nothing but P minus PV. PV is the vapor pressure, P is the pressure which is encountered in that liquid. Okay, if P minus PV divided by half rho V square, V square is the velocity at that particular place. So this cavitation number gives a quantification of how close are we to the cavitation. So if P minus PV is much higher, then we may be less assured that cavitation may not happen. Okay, but this P minus PV is much lesser. Okay, then we have to worry about cavitation. So this cavitation number is very, very important. This has been asked in some of the competitive exams. So kindly put this on your formula sheets. Okay, so this is how it is. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is cavitation. You have understood what is vapor pressure. This vapor pressure and cavitation has been asked a number of times in competitive exams, including GATE, ISRO, BARC, lot of places. Okay, so I hope you have understood that. We will summarize what it is. Okay, what we have done. Summary is like this. The vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by the saturated vapor on the surface of the liquid. When I say saturated vapor, I am saying the rate of condensation is equal to the rate of evaporation. Okay, next, vapor pressure determines the volatility of the liquid. More the vapor pressure, more the volatility. Next, mercury has the lowest vapor pressure among the liquid at the room temperature, and that is the reason it is used in manometers. Cavitation is appearance of vapor cavities in the liquid domain. Okay, so this is what it is. I hope you have enjoyed the video, you have understood something. Okay, and it will help you in all the competitive exams. And kindly subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon. Okay, and best of luck for your future. Thank you very much.